What is up? Welcome to another edition of the Sports Office. Glad you're with us tonight. We got a lot to look at all this college basketball we got going on.
I know.
Luderman's here,
Woo!
Canner's here. With everything going on, Lions fans, do not panic. Is that your advice?
That's my advice today.
We're going to talk about that. There it is, right there. Zoom in. Lions fans, do not panic.
Do not panic.
Do not panic.
It's all good.
Yes, Kevin Bacon. It's all fine.
It's all
going to be good. Yeah, no worries.
All
is well.
Look who you get to play next week. You're fine.
All
Easy.
right, let's talk about it with Justin Rogers from the Detroit Football Network, who joins us now. J-Raj, what up?
Who is sitting in the middle seat of this couch?
That is our sponsor, Chevy in the D. Thank you for noticing right there. We love when people notice our sponsors. And a jersey and some cardboard
fan.
cutout. Lions fan.
Yeah.
So that's about it, along with
Okay.
Luderman and Canner. What's going on with you?
You know, same as you, just working start to finish today.
And not panicking.
Not panicking. No, but you know what? Here's an interesting point, Justin. I mean, we're in this business a long time. We're around teams for a long time. And sometimes we get feelings and we think, you know, we get a handle on things. Man, I couldn't have been more wrong about this game on Sunday. I thought this team was going to come out ready to go and really put together a rock-solid performance coming off the bye. And it was about as far from rock-solid performance as we've seen from Dan Campbell's team in some time. Teaches you when you think you know, be careful.
Yeah, I drew some parallels today to the Thanksgiving game a couple years ago against the Packers, right? Very similar. It was a young quarterback, a team that was struggling, a young quarterback that was still kind of figuring his way around, and the defensive line of both those teams just kind of came out and handed the Lions their lunch. And those were not the results you expected, certainly not the results you wanted, but it kind of goes back to the whole idea of any given Sunday, and I think that multiplies exponentially with divisional opponents, guys that are teams that know you, coaches that know you. Sometimes the betting lines, the storylines go out the window a little bit. And Brian Flores is a really, really good defensive coordinator, and the Lions have had his number for the last couple seasons. And so, it just doesn't go that way in the NFL where it stays consistent for a long period of time. There's adjustments, particularly in the division, and Flores adjusted, and the Lions were not able to counter, at least in this afternoon.
Hey, Justin, do you kind of look at that game as a one-off with the way they played against Minnesota, or do you lump together really the last three games where I think they walked out feeling like that offense left a lot out there and has not performed up to the standard is the standard, as they like to say?
Yeah, there's a lack of identity right now. And for a while, it was really kind of centered around the run game. And then the run game builds out to the play action, which builds into your quarterback strength of, sound decision-making, accuracy, efficiency with time to process in the pocket. Well, if the ground game's not working and you're facing these 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, or, with some of the sacks and penalties, 3rds and 14s, it's just a lot more difficult to exist in that world, even with, one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the NFL, with some of the best weapons in the NFL, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. And so I really think it starts with getting the ground game back on track. They're just not as efficient as they were last year, and it's really kind of trickling down to everything else with the offense.
Do you think the changes on the offensive line have had a major effect on that?
Certainly feel like they missed Frank Ragnow yesterday because maybe the common denominator against those Flores defenses was certainly Goff, who's terrific against the blitz, but also that dude right in the middle of that offensive line.
Yeah, I don't think they schemed up the blocking particularly well yesterday, and maybe you want to flip that and say the Vikings schemed up how to attack the blocking very well. How many times did we see Jahmyr Gibbs put in a situation where he was the last man standing between a defender and Jared Goff? And I think Jahmyr Gibbs has improved drastically as a run blocker, as a pass protector during his time here. But as I asked Dan Campbell about it, like this is a league about mismatches. And if you are getting a 250-pound linebacker barreling in full speed on your speed and space running back consistently throughout that game, a dozen times, in fact, like, it's going to end poorly. And Gibbs gave up a ton of those pressures because that's what it was. It was the defense fanning out the offensive line, young guards not being able to recover when kind of that door was swung open. And so it's two defenders charging through, Glasgow picking up one, and Gibbs responsible for the other. And I think that's where you saw a lot of your pressures and sacks yesterday.
Yeah, and I think you asked that question today, Justin. I think you got a really honest answer from Dan Campbell, which you normally do. And your point was, why didn't you adjust? And I had TJ and Lomas yesterday basically saying, man, get a tight end over right behind the center. Get a tight end that's going to handle part of the A-gap pressure that you're dealing with there. And Dan Campbell said to you, yeah, we could have adapted better. And he took a lot of that on himself and, you know, his coaching staff with him. But I thought that was a really honest moment to your question about, man, why didn't you change something during the game at some point?
You know, we've been around a while covering this team, Dan, and it's you learn to craft questions for the coaches you're covering. And I made a comment to colleague Dave Burkett, you know, after that. It's like, how would have every other coach we've covered the last decade plus responded to that question, which it's a schematic question, it's a tough question, it's a challenging question, and a lot of them would get no response, a sarcastic response. But the thing about Dan Campbell that I appreciate and haven't stopped appreciating in 5 years is you get honest, genuine responses. He reflects on your question. You know, I certainly have asked some bad ones. He never tells you your question's dumb. I can't say that other coaches I've covered would not hesitate to tell you that you've asked a dumb question or you don't know what you're talking about. And so it was refreshing because, again, this is a league we hear all the time. It's about creating mismatches. You try to create them with receiver on cornerback. You try to create them with blocking and edge rushers. And the Vikings created a mismatch in this game, and they were able to sustain it. And I think it's probably the most damning thing about the performance, coaching-wise, is the Lions never adjusted through 4 quarters to Gibbs being put on that island.
Yeah, I felt like the one thing they couldn't do in this game as well was make life easy for J.J. McCarthy. And in the end, I think they made life pretty easy for J.J. McCarthy. When the first time he has to run on the field, Justin, and you know he's feeling some things at that point, he's coming off a 61-yard kickoff return. And as Dan Campbell said to me today doing a radio interview, they've already got points in the bank when he's running out there. You had 3 possessions that started in plus territory, one off a kickoff return, one off a turnover, and one off a blocked field goal. And that resulted in 17 of their 27 points. The one thing you wanted to make him do was go 70 or 75 yards, put some pressure on him, and they just didn't do that.
Yeah, I would say one of the few things I was encouraged about from this game, if you're looking for silver linings, is the Lions did continue to get pressure on the quarterback. They did give him some short fields, so there were points, but I liked the way they blitzed. I thought Jack Campbell had a phenomenal game as a blitzer, which is something we don't see a lot. Obviously, one of those turned into a roughing the quarterback penalty, an adjustment he's going to have to make to his technique. But Hutchinson produced some pressures. Muhammad continues to be a factor in that regard. And, you know, I continue to like the way they use situational spy defenses with their athletic linebackers. You know, they keep them at a depth where they're still disruptive to the passing lanes, but they float and they clean up the garbage when it rolls out of the pocket. And more often than not, they did not give McCarthy running lanes. He obviously had the rushing touchdown when they didn't have a spy call on that particular play, but I thought they made life rough for him on the fields he had to work with. But to your point, they gave him some short fields, and they gave him some good third down and second down situations because they didn't stop the run effectively. I thought that was a bigger problem.
Yeah, and in the first 2 drives, again, I go back and look at it, and it kind of felt like that Green Bay game in the first drive against Green Bay. I think they had like a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 9, and a 3rd and 10. In the first 2 drives, they had Minnesota in 3rd and 9 twice. You know, you got a chance to get off the field and really change the score, and they just couldn't do it. And it just goes back to, man, you don't know at the end of the game how many snaps you're going to look back on that can make a critical difference in it. And I think that's what Dan Campbell was trying to drive home as well on the kickoff return and the block punt. Man, it is every snap in an NFL game that can be the difference.
Yeah, we get so focused on Arthur Mollett giving up a completion on the final offensive snap of the game that could have given the ball back to the Lions, right? Like that could have put him in position, and that's the play like we remember because he didn't make it. But it's the accumulation of everything before that. It's J-Mo and St. Brown dropping a pass. It's Mahogany blowing a block. It's Jahmyr Gibbs not being able to stop 3 sacks. It's so many little things that kind of build up to that. There's penalties. There's 15-yard penalties on the defense that were unnecessary penalties. There's a 3rd down holding call, our illegal contact downfield against Meek Robertson, who played a really, really good game against Justin Jefferson, but that one negates an interception. And so just a lot of plays where, the outcome could have changed. I think that's actually a really bigger picture interesting point is this was a really bad game in all 3 phases for Detroit. I think they played poorly on special teams. I think they played poorly on offense. I think they played poorly on defense. They lost this game by 3 points. This is a game you could have lost by 30. And maybe if you didn't convert a couple of those 4th downs in this game, you do. But I think it still speaks to the talent level of this team that you could play your worst game and still be in it until the bitter end.
That's what I was going to bring up is the fact that everything that they did wrong, all the mistakes they made, the 10 penalties, everything like that, they were 1 blocked field goal away from going to overtime. And that's why there's no panic as far as I'm concerned, because, they have kind of a good track record of bouncing back and getting things right and fixing things. And all they have to do is fix a couple of things and they'll be back in the winning column, and then they can build from there.
Yeah, let me throw this out, Justin. Level of concern, because I agree with you, that running game keys so much for that offense. Level of concern with the issues they're going to have health-wise with this offensive line, and we don't know about Sewell and Decker yet, but it doesn't certainly sound for sure that they're going to play at all this week. Level of concern that you can do that with the changes they're going to have to work with and make on that line.
Yeah, what are we doing? A point scale? It's at least a 5, right?
Yeah.
Sewell, is rock solid, and then it's a lot of question marks. And Tate Ratledge is going through predictable rookie inconsistencies. You knew he would. Even when you look at him in the locker room when the pads aren't on, he's a kid. It's weird to say that because he's got a mustache and a mullet and tattoos, but he's also
Solid
under
mullet.
all
He's got
that.
a man's mullet, that's for sure.
Yeah. Under that, he's got a baby face. He does, and he lacks that grizzled, muscular frame that so many veteran offensive linemen have. He's still probably a few years away from being the peak guard that he's going to be, and I think he's going to be a really good one in this league. Graham Glasgow's banged up. He got rolled up on in that game on the goal line, and I have no idea how he was the one offensive lineman that didn't exit that game with an injury with the way his leg got curled up. Mahogany had, I think, one of his worst performances as a Lion. Really, really struggled in pass protection. And we know Decker is fighting through a pretty chronic and nasty shoulder injury. He's had 3 different procedures on that shoulder. He's had AC joint, rotator cuff, torn labrum over the last, 6 or 7 years. And it's just a mess of gunk and inflammation, and it's sapping his effectiveness. And it's not like he's playing poorly, but he's not playing to the Taylor Decker level we're used to. And so if 80% of that line is not playing particularly well, there's still some youth that's kind of figuring some things out there in the 2 guards. There's going to continue to be some lumps down here. So yeah, there's absolutely a level of concern.
It's a little frustrating because everything you're saying is right on the money. But let me start over. It's frustrating to see a team not in sync. We thought they'd come out and they'd be firing on all cylinders because of the week off and divisional. We were all ready for a great game and a Lions victory, but it's frustrating to see when they're not in sync and we're all I'm at home watching on the couch, and my blood pressure is going up. My blood pressure.
I think the head coach was frustrated coming out of that game yesterday because you said it, Justin. That's all 3 phases. That's not normal for this team.
Yeah, usually when one is down, and it happens in football. It's a really difficult game to be consistent on top of your game on all 3 phases all the time. But when one stumbles, when the offense stumbles, we see the defense or the special teams kind of pick them up. And that's kind of the complementary football that, is really important to success for top-end teams and has really helped carry the Lions to the level that they're at. And it just wasn't there. None of it was there yesterday. And again, I think these games happen. I'm going to go back to that Packers game. It happened that time too, and we know what happened after that game. Still a little rocky out of it, but they got all the way to the NFC Championship, knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. I think, let's not overreact to a single game or a little bit of a lull of a stretch here. This team is still, I think, who we think they are. I think they still are a contender in the NFC, and they just got to work through some things.
Justin, great stuff. You do a lot of work, man, putting your stuff together for the Detroit Football Network. How do people get information on that?
I think you told them already. Detroit Football Network, DetroitFootball.net. I'm on the Twitters and the Blue Skies and all that stuff, but, in the heart of the operation is the website.
There it is. Appreciate it, Justin. Good stuff, man. Thank you very much. We'll see you Wednesday or Thursday or something. But I will see you. I promise you that. All right, Justin Rogers joining us right there. Does a great job covering the team.
Great job.
And that dude is out there all the time, man. I mean, all the time. And pretty cool to see a guy kind of break away from traditional media, go out on his own, and hustle and make it. And that's what he's doing right now. It's a cool thing. Detroit
We're
Football
following
Network.
suit. We're not traditional media.
We are not traditional.
No.
Not by any means. Let it go, Luderman. Hey, you can join us. Zoom. Is it right here? Oh, man, it's over here. It's over here. There it is right there. I wish they'd put a mark on that. Click on that. That puts you in the Zoom room over here with Tommy. Tommy will tell us you're there, and then we'll put you on the show next. We're going to go to break. House band's going to fire up. Zebo, take us to break, man. Bo the House Band. Thursday night, he'll give us
deep
messages
thoughts
in life with deep thoughts. Hey, we got some folks in the Zoom room. We're going to welcome them into the show right now. Nicholas, you're up tonight. What's going on, man? How you doing? Love the hat.
Thanks. How y'all doing?
We're good, man. I love the hat. You got it all going. The drip is nice.
Thank you. I got it signed by Meek Robertson.
Nice.
All right.
Love
Strong.
Meek,
All right.
too.
Strong.
Can't bury what comes from dirt.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That's a deep thought.
Not much. So I wanted to talk about basically the recap of the Vikings game, and I wanted to talk about how the Lions can improve their season going into the next games of the season.
How do they do it?
I think they're doing pretty good, but I think of multiple ways that we could improve our season. Like an example, if you look at the Jameson Williams' stats, he had 4 receptions for 66 yards, and you also heard how John Morton said, "I failed him." And we were able to get him involved at the end of the game. And I feel like if we were to get him involved more, we could also win our game, because if you look at the pass numbers, Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting most of the receptions on the team. And I also feel like we could also involve Sam Laporta even more, because he got 6 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. So I think if we involve them more, we could win more games, obviously. It would obviously help Jared Goff if people got open more. And I think we just need we have a lot of injuries. Like if you look back at the game, we had a lot more injuries in like the third and fourth quarter. Like our whole O-line got injured. So the Vikings got a career high of 5 sacks. And we don't know what's happening with Penei Sewell or Taylor Decker yet, because they were both questionable in the game in like the third quarter. So that obviously did not help us.
That's going to be a big part of this week, Nicholas, is to see if those guys can play this week, because you got to get – I think what Justin said is true. You got to get that running game going, and you got to get that offensive line back in sync. Man, good stuff. You got to come back and join us again. Well done, man. Well done. You're gonna be sitting on this couch one day, because I'm leaving soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I'll give you the couch. I'm out of here soon. By the way, thank Nicholas for joining us via Zoom. You can do it too. That's how easy it is. My man was prepared too.
Yes.
He was ready to go.
That was the A game right there.
That was total A game.
Get J-Mo the ball.
Get J-Mo the ball. It's never a bad thing.
Nope.
It's a good thing. You know, and particularly if you get it to him in space. And look, it's what Justin said. If you get that running game going, man, everything opens up at that point.
I think he'll get the ball this week.
This is our resident Washington fan right here, who's just going to walk around and tell everybody all week that we're going to kill him. But I think we know they need to be ready to play in this game.
Now they're going to kill him.
One more break. Zebo's going to take us out one more time. He's got it. Just let it roll, man. Fire it up. Here we go. Yes, sir. Oh, just feel it drift. There it goes. Right back. Final segment of the Sports Office after this. Join us. Go Z. Go Z. Go Z. Go Z.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a busy night tonight.
Yep.
Looking up at the schedule, we got Pistons, Grizzlies. We got Oakland at Michigan, which is always fun when you get the locals. That's an 8:30 start. Colgate and MSU going on now. Detroit and UIC. Can we just give a little love to the Pistons? They're a really fun team to watch. Like watching them play. The Cleveland game wasn't fun last week, but the Orlando game, that was fun. And then in Mexico City, that was fun too. But watching them win that game against
They're
Dallas.
a good team. They don't seem like a team that is going to go on like long losing streaks, like things would snowball
like
on
28
them.
straight or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, you know. But yeah, they seem to have passed that. They bounce back so quickly. They have the fundamentals down, and the confidence seems high. They seem to be a lot more mentally strong.
I said this on the show last night. They're fun to watch. And we haven't been able to say that. We could say it last year. I mean, it was fun in the playoffs, but I mean, we've been watching Drek for a long time. You can say that on the stream.
You can say that, yes.
Though. Young players, Asar's looking better and better every game.
Asar's
Ron Holland
doing.
looking better and better every game. Guys are developing.
Luderman, how's the weather?
It's uneventful. It is going to get cooler this coming weekend. So
what are we looking at in D.C. on Sunday? I saw like mid-60s.
Yeah, it's not going to be a problem in Washington. But here, it's going to be watching football weather.
Love it.
Watching.
Indoors?
Yes.
Indoors.
Watching
with a fire.
Yes, watching football weather.
And
Stay inside.
All right, that's it for the Sports Office. Z, take us out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good people go to heaven. We'll be out of here. Have a good night, everybody.